Chapter 1, Mishnah 1. When the owner of land in Eretz Yisrael sees the fruits of his land begin to ripen, he designates some as Bikkurim. After they ripen and are harvested, he brings them to the temple and gives them to the Kohanim. At the temple, he recites a biblical passage in which he praises and thanks God for having given him his land in Eretz Yisrael. The obligation to bring Bikkurim and the obligation to recite the passage are two separate, though related mitzvahs. This chapter lists cases in which a person is obligated to do both mitzvahs, or only the mitzvah of bringing Bikkurim, or neither of the mitzvahs. We now turn to the words of the Mishnah. There are those who bring Bikkurim and recite the passage. There are those who bring Bikkurim but do not recite the passage. And there are those who do not even bring Bikkurim. The Mishnah illustrates the last category. These people do not even bring Bikkurim. Someone who plants a tree in his own land and bends a branch from it into the private property of another person or into public property, so that the branch grows into a new tree there. Similarly, one who bends a branch from a tree planted in the private property of another person or public property into his own land, where the branch grows into a new tree. In both cases, he cannot designate the fruit of either tree as Bikkurim because both trees draw some nourishment from land that is not his, and the law is that one could not bring Bikkurim except from the fruit of trees that grow entirely in one's own land. The law in the next case is subject to dispute. If someone plants a tree in his own land and bends a branch from it into another part of his own land, but there is a public path or a public road in the middle, that is, the branch passes beneath a public path or road and it grows into a tree in his land on the other side, he does not bring Bikkurim from the fruit of either tree. Although both trees are in his property, he cannot designate their fruit as Bikkurim because the trees draw some nourishment from the earth under the public path or road, which does not belong to him. But Rabbi Yehuda says that in a situation like this, he could bring Bikkurim from the fruit of either tree. According to Rabbi Yehuda, anyone has permission to dig a hole or tunnel under public property as long as it will not harm or inconvenience the public. Thus, in our case, the owner was allowed to pass the branch through the earth under the public road, which means that his trees are drawing nourishment from the ground in a permitted way. That suffices to make the fruits of the trees fit to be Bikkurim.